Hello, amazing ones. Jules here from Flying Colours Leadership. Super excited to be coming to you to chat about balance. Okay, so hands up, who would like more balance in their life and in their business? Yep, we all are looking for more balance. The first thing we really need to think about when we are thinking about balance is think about why you started your business. Take a moment to really just close your eyes and think about, why did you create your business in the first place? Now, I'm sure the first thing that comes to mind is not to work a million hours, to always be thinking about your business, to never switch off. Right? I'm sure that is not the reasons that you started your business. We need balance. Now, as human beings, we absolutely need balance, but as passionate, energetic business owners, we also need balance. So we need to be thinking about, well, why did I actually start my business? What was that moment in time? What was that thing that happened in my life that's wanted me to step out of? Was it the corporate space? Was it an employee space? To actually start your own business? Because that is our roots of our business. Now, when we are looking at balance, we have to really be realistic about balance, okay? So we have to be realistic about what balance looks like, and we also have to be realistic about how balance comes into our being. Now, what do I mean by that? I talk to a lot of business owners, I talk to a lot of corporate leaders that are really waiting for the right time. As soon as I get through this busy period, as soon as I do this, as soon as I'm finished this, as soon as this happens, I'll get some time. Does that sound familiar? The message there is, I'm waiting for balance to happen. Balance is going to happen, but I just need to get these 75 other things done. So we can't wait for balance to happen. We need to take control. And we need to think about, what does balance look like for us? Now, we have this misconception that balance is, like the scales, they show always show photos of scales, right? That we need this real balance, and it's always, our private life and our business life, and it's all balanced. Real life isn't that way. So we need to really redefine and re-understand what balance really looks like. It doesn't look 50-50, right? Some weeks you're going to be heavy into your business and it's going to be, 80-20. Other weeks you're going to spend more time with the family and more time in your personal life. So the scales are going to tip. Now, this is it seems simple, but a really important mental shift. Because when we're trying to find this perfect 50-50 balance, we always feel like we're not there. We haven't achieved it. We look at ourselves and go, I'm not doing what I aimed to do when I started this business. So we need to understand what true balance means. Now, this is where we have to understand what balance is not. And we have to also think about, well, what does balance look like for you? And this is really where we start. And you would have seen so much on social media about creating and designing your own life. And I think it's something that's talked about, but really not, how do I do that? Well, when we're looking at creating balance in our business, we need to actually look at, well, what do I want this to look like? Right? Because we have probably had the 9-to-5 structure put over our business, going, well, this is what it needs to look like. And I know when I first started business, I had to really scrap this, I sit down at 9 o'clock and I start doing my business, right? And at 5 o'clock, okay, or 6 o'clock, okay, we down tools. I had to sit and redefine how I wanted to structure my business. Now, the first thing I needed to look at was, what did my life look like? Now, at the time, my hubby was working night shift. So he was starting at lunchtime and working until, 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So me doing this 9 to 5 made 0 sense and put me in the same position that I was in when I was in corporate. So I decided to look at, well, okay, how do I want to work? Do I want to start later? Do I want to do some nighttime work? Right? Do I want to run some workshops at night? And I used to run master classes at night and do coaching sessions at night and all of these things, not because I was available 24 hours a day, but because it worked with my life. So a question for you to think about is, what does balance look like for you? What type of business model do you want in your life that fits your life? How do you want your days to look? Instead of thinking about, well, I have to do it a certain way because this is what, everyone in my industry does. What do you want? Do you want to? Are you a really early riser and do you want to start your business early in the morning? Or are you someone like me who likes to sleep in? And do you have a little sleep in and then start your business? What do you want to do? Do you want to actually not start any work or meetings until 10 o'clock after you've went for a walk and actually given yourself some, love and some nurturing? And this is the thing that I think we start a business and we forget we get to decide. You get to decide this. You get to build a business that fits what you desire. How amazing, right? Does that sound? How amazing if you think about your life and go, I get to design something the way that I desire. And this is where we need to step into, well, what do I actually want? And I know last year I really started looking at this and I decided that Fridays I didn't want to do any work. I wanted to have this really creative, relaxed Friday where I didn't do any client work, I didn't have any meetings, and I really could have this flexibility to do what I wanted to do. Now, in the beginning, and this is one of the things people don't tell you about creating balance. You don't just think it and automatically, oh, I've got balance, right? I had to look at my calendar and realize, okay, right now, I've got things booked on a Friday. But because I knew what I wanted, where I wanted to go, a change I wanted to make, I wanted to only be available those 4 days, I could then start tapering things back and blocking out. Like, it was a big thing for me to block out Fridays. And any of my one-on-one clients know, you can't book with me on a Friday. So when we're looking at creating balance in our business, we have to be really clear about what we want. And that can be, and think about the example I've just used, not working on a Friday, right? It's not a big, bold vision, right? And I think sometimes we really make out, what do you want from your business has to be this, big, shiny thing. It's, how do you want your life to look? And then it's about working out, okay, well, what's one thing that we can start doing to create that? So I looked at the Fridays and I went, okay, if I want to not have client meetings on the Friday, the first simple, reasonable step was to actually take that out of my booking system. Make that day unavailable. Now that can be really scary. So when you start making these shifts, the fear can come up. Oh gosh, well, what if I upset my clients? Oh gosh, well, what if I can't get it all done? Oh, and this is where the balance comes in. Right, last Friday I did a little bit of work because the week was a little bit all over the show after Easter, and I wanted to ensure that I got everything done. But it was my choice. And this is where we need to start creating our own boundaries. You get to decide. You get to create the boundaries and the rules for your business. And when you think about it like that, it is really powerful. So you get to decide what days you work. You get to decide what times you work. You get to decide what clients you take on. And when we start stepping into the power of that, everything shifts from our business controlling us to actually it's my design. So I want you to really step into that. I design my business. I design the life that I'm leading. And also be okay with it may not look perfect yet. Okay? It's a process. I didn't get to Fridays, out of the calendar automatically. It was a process, a letting go process as well. So you need to set the goals of what do you want. You then need to create the boundaries. And that's boundaries with your clients, but also boundaries for you. Right? How many of us get up in the morning and all of a sudden, before you've had your coffee or anything, we're into our emails and in on social media posting and in the business, instead of having the day that we design. And this is the difference between letting the day run you and running the day. We need to have the boundaries. We need to have a plan. Now, when we look at balance in our business, this also means balance around our focus areas. Okay, so there's a lot of pieces to our business. And a lot of business owners and leaders want to be working on all of the pieces of the business all the time. And sometimes in our business, we need to look at what can I achieve this week? What can I achieve today? Now, I am a big believer in setting goals so that we have something to focus on and work towards. Because otherwise in business, we can be running around like a headless chook and really not achieving much. We have to have those things to focus on. So if we look at our week and we have, lots of client calls, lots of, looking after our clients, we then need to think about, well, how much else can I achieve? And we need to start being more realistic. So many business owners that I work with are so unrealistic about what they think they should be achieving. So what this means is sometimes we are focused on the day-to-day running of our business and the key things we need to do to generate income, to, look after our clients, to ensure the business is running smoothly, operational things. And then we have our strategic actions and our strategic goals. Now, the truth that not a lot of leaders in business will tell you is you can't always work on those strategic goals. There are absolutely going to be weeks where you're like, okay, all I can do this week is what's in my calendar already and keep the business running. That's not failure. That's really being realistic about the time you have and where you are best to put your energy. And again, that is a decision you can make. Now, I'm not saying don't ever work on strategy. Absolutely not. But again, just like the scales move up and down between, our balance of our work life and personal life, the same is for strategic actions and our normal operational and client service actions. We need to have some balance and go, okay, and I actually look at a 3-month period of my strategic goals, and then I break it down month by month to then go, well, what can I achieve? What is really realistic for me to achieve? And looking at it over a month, if I get caught up in some things for clients and really getting into, servicing my clients, that's not a bad thing for that week, because I love working with my clients. And next week I go, okay, I'm going to make sure I block in some time to balance the scales to actually then work on my strategic goals. So this is really important for us when we are looking to balance in our business, because otherwise we can get to a stage where we feel like we're never working on strategic because we're in the business and gosh. And I was talking to a client recently, amazing business owner, and they've just had some amazing events in their business and they're feeling a little bit tired. And I'm like, okay, right now, let's just park strategy for a little minute. Let's get your energy levels up. Let's make sure you can recuperate. And then with a really clear head next week, then we'll start looking back at the strategy. Right? When we have downturns in business, that's not a time sometimes to be looking at those deep strategic goals. It's like, okay, how do we manage cash flow? I had a client who was really stressed about cash flow. And I'm like, okay, well, let's focus on what do we need to do to get that cash flowing. She's like, I feel like I've got all of these things to do, Julie. And I'm like, okay, right, let's strip away all of the noise. We know we need to focus on cash flow. What are the actions we're going to do? And she said to me, I feel like there's so many things I'm not doing right now. And we had a conversation about right now, what you and your business needs is some focus on your health and you looking after you and working on that cash flow. That's exactly what you need right now. So when we're creating balance, one of the things that we need to do is we need to release the guilt. You don't need to be doing it all at once. You need to be looking at what does your business need right now? What do you, as the business owner, the heart, the soul of the business, need right now? And sometimes that is absolutely to slow down and take more care and nurture yourself a bit more. That is absolutely what you need. So that's what we need to be looking at when we're creating balance. So you can see that balance is almost like the ocean, right? It comes in waves and there's a rise and a fall to it. But here's the thing, we are the captain of our business. So we get to make these decisions. So steps to start creating balance in your life. I want you to look at balance in your business. I want you to look at what does your business need right now? That's the number one thing that your business needs. And what actions can you take to focus on that? How do you want your days to look? How do you want your schedule to look? And how can you start taking steps towards that? And I want you to remember, you have the power as the business owner. Business Blind Spots Workshop. So this workshop is really for business owners and leaders that want to remove those blind spots. They want to understand what's happening in their business. Now, one of the things that I love to do with businesses is to come in as that objective person to look at your business and understand what's going on and see your blind spots. Now, this workshop is going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be a masterclass. It's going to be an interactive session where we are going to not only talk about some tools and strategies that you can utilize to identify your blind spots, we're actually going to talk about what's happening in your business. So this is going to be an interactive workshop where we are going to look at what's going on in your business. Where are those blind spots? We're going to open them up for you so you can actually see the things that you've been missing in your business. Doing a little bit of an audit on your business in the workshop and looking at how you can start to remove those blind spots from your business. getting you some really key questions, some key activities to go and work on your business to not only understand where the blind spots are, but build actions to improve those areas. And understand the blind spots for you as a business owner and how you can really elevate your success